Hello, this is David White from Sportsman's Emporium. With steelhead season quickly approaching up on Lake Erie, I've been getting a lot of fellas in asking, guys that have never steelhead fished before, and they're asking what equipment they need. Mostly the biggest question and concern is how big do you need to go to catch these big fish? And in general, you know, I tell people a 7 or an 8 weight rod and line setup is really, I think, the best choices. You can get by with a little bit lighter, like a 6 weight, or a little bit heavier, like a 9 or 10 weight. But I think the best zone to maximize your potential, I think a 7 or 8 weight setup is really good. So anything with the 7 or 8 weight line, a lot of guys like to go with longer rods up there, 10-foot rods, because you're generally fishing with egg patterns and nymphs, and you're trying to keep your rod tip really high up off the water. The extra length on the rod will help with that. There is a trade-off though. A 9-foot rod is a little bit shorter, but for warm water fly fishing, it can be a little bit more versatile. The shorter rod will, if you're looking to get into bass fishing or light musky fishing, you can sort of use both, and it becomes more difficult with the 10-footer. I would say a 10-foot 7 or 8 weight is a little more specific to steelhead fishing, and a 9-foot 7 or 8 weight is a little more versatile for getting into warm water fly fishing as well. Now, another thing that I hear a lot is, what size leaders do I need when I'm fishing up there? I think in general, if you're just using a standard leader, a 3X leader, which is about 8.2 pounds, would work really good. This is a 9-foot long leader, and I think that's a good length. I wouldn't go shorter than 9 foot. I would go longer, if anything. There are steelhead specific leaders, and this is a 10-foot 10-pound leader, and these leaders can range from 8 pound, 10, 12, and 13 pounds, and they are a little bit longer than average, you know, than your standard leader, and a little more nichey to steelhead and salmon fishing. So those are out there. I think in general, looking between 8 and 12 pound test on your leader and tippet size is best. These fish like to fight, and they will break line pretty quick. Same thing on your tippet size. I think to have a 3X tippet, if you're only to have one, that would definitely be my choice. Having a 2, 3, and 4 I think would be even better, but if I had to only choose one setup to go up there, I would go with an 8 weight rod, a 3X leader, and 3X tippet. I think that really covers the bases up on the Lake Erie steelhead. Fly selection, if you've never done it before, I think the big thing you need to know are the egg flies. These fish are spawning into those creeks to lay their eggs, and they lay them by the thousands, and they eat them, you know, and they eat each other's eggs. So that's really what they're doing. If they're really spawning, they're not actively feeding, but they will eat the eggs. They're full of protein. One thing I will say is don't overlook using some standard nymph flies, just like you would use for trout. Just go a little bigger, you know, with the size 12 and 14s. But in general, if you were to go up there for the first time, you can't go wrong just taking a dozen egg flies would be perfect.